few, but I think we should just start. First of all, from my side, thank you all a lot for having me and listening to me and whatever input I've brought these couple of training sessions in this weekend. I think you can all pat yourself on the back. I think you all made really good progress. It was quite easy to see. So really nice work. I think that's for sure for all teams stepping stones that we can jump onto and increase our level of sailing. And it's just like volleyball. As soon as you can get the ball over the net 5 times, it's way more fun. So let's just try and achieve that. It just gets way better. I think it was super nice to see that the final today was super close. All the races were not lost on one team fucking up, but actually from someone making a judgment mistake. Or
who won?
Get to that later.
Yeah, we have a prize every day. No, but I think it was super nice to see that. In the end, it was actually a matter of doing the little things right and judgment calls on timings in the start. For me, it actually started to look like real proper match racing where all your flaws will show up very quickly. 2 bad maneuvers, game over, because you're not gonna find a way back. So it was super nice to see. So really good effort on both teams. It was super nice, and I think from what I saw in the what do we call it, the petit round robin, I saw really good progress as well, just from yesterday to today. So it's all about if we can keep talking about the process of how we do this whole boat racing thing, and keep working at it. The wheel has been invented on these boats and in match racing, so if we study the game long enough, we'll for sure get there. So make sure you ask questions. I think it would be nice to maybe just take it a little bit team by team and see like if there were some key findings from this weekend. So I know we're all going to be sitting there waiting for our turn, but I think it's nice that we can kind of share the knowledge between all of us. So I'd like to start with you, Xavier, and your team. It doesn't have to be you. It could be anyone from the team. What was your lessons from this weekend?
Biggest finding.
Too many to list in a few minutes.
Just take
but I think
one or two.
On the pre-stars, there's definitely a lot of the things that I need to take the terms. So sorry, Victor, for the false start work on. But I think we improved on the dialogues. We were positioned better, and thanks for that tip on really breaking the boat on with the rudder.
Yeah. That's important. That's actually a good one. If you want to stop the boat, the rudder is the best brake to have. Also around the course. So once you don't want to stop the boat, stop using the rudder.
Yeah. Then also the timing with Lasse. I think it was really good that you started calling sort of time back to live, also back time, and I think that just getting that dynamic of communicating very continuous on a continuous basis was really good.
Exactly. It just has to keep rolling because it determines what your actions are as skipper and what your options are also. If you have a lot of time to burn, it's one thing. If you're marginal in how much you need to burn, it's another thing, right? So yeah, that was important.
I guess on the upwinds as well, we took sort of the advice of if you're training boat, just try and tack as much as you can.
Yeah.
And get out of the dirty air, which I think I think it paid off in some races. So it's good to try.
Yeah.
And then on the downwind, I think the spinnaker handling was much better. I think we saw a big progression there.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys have anything else.
Definitely the hoists and drops were a lot better than they've been before.
Yeah.
A lot smoother, not as chaotic.
Yeah.
We were rounding nicely both the top and the bottom, so that was good. But there's still work to do actually flying the spin on the way down for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But I think
this trick about twisting the pole was pretty genius.
yeah. That's the way. anything from the rest of the crew, like what you felt you could take away from this weekend?
I think from yesterday morning to now we improved a lot and we got good feedback, so it was nice.
Yeah, I think it will be very good for you to try and note it down, because at least I keep a physical sailing diary, and it's some people have it digital, that works as well, but just note down whatever you learn, because it's just ingrained much better. And sometimes you can make a little drawing and be like, oh, if this then this, or if that then this, and then get that noted down, and then it seems like you have a pretty consistent team. You can start building a playbook, which is like, who does what, when, how, where, what's the procedure. You can even put it in an Excel sheet and be like, okay, top mark, who does what, and it's just like a list of things that comes. You can time the sequence to do it right, and then of course you always need to figure out what to do when shit goes wrong, but that comes with experience. So.
Yeah, I think that's also sort of what we started doing now a bit more. I think we're a very young team, so these sorts of weekends are super, super valuable, I feel. And yeah, there is already sort of a sequence of doing things for everyone, but now we keep on adding stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
so I think from the outside, it's quite clear to see that you're progressing. Yeah. So good work. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Then we can keep on to Mo's team. We have a few here, and where do we have the rest? Where did I see the rest? Over here. Yeah. How are we feeling? Not too cold?
No.
Tired? You deserve that beer, eh? I'd like to hear from the crew, like, what's your key takeaway from this weekend?
I think from my point of view, we're getting to the point where things are going right. Then, broadly speaking, everyone knows their job. But I think we don't react well when things start to go wrong.
Yeah.
And I think there are a number of things that we should be doing to address that. I think we need to have a talk internally about communication on the boat.
Yeah, sure.
To be honest.
Yeah.
And making sure that we're all kind of working together to resolve things.
Yeah.
It's not easy, right?
No, for sure not. It's a difficult task, because you have to have seen the mistake happen before to have an idea of how to fix it. You have to have seen it go wrong at least once or twice, and then okay, the fix is then this. So that comes with experience. So don't be too put off by it. I think you should just figure out and have a good talk now. You'll never learn it in a race situation, but then afterwards you can debrief and be like, okay, this happened, what do we do? So that's important. Yeah.
From my side, I believe that I have to act a bit more calm.
Yeah.
Under learn how to control our stress a bit better.
For sure.
Communication, as you said, is a big problem. Besides that, on my part, I learned a lot of new stuff that I have to do during the races, and I'll try to implement them. So that's everything.
Yeah. Yeah. What are we feeling here?
Yeah, I feel like I kept progressing on keeping the main in tune with the rudder.
Yeah.
Like where
I feel like you are definitely getting better in helping the boat achieve. Also in the pre-starts, helping the boat achieve what Mo wanted to do. So that's really good.
Yeah, that felt better.
Yeah.
I think we got better. We started to add things, for example, after the training or the theory session this morning around our spinning hoist. We were fighting a little bit with it, so we had to decide exactly what to do. So maybe we tried to take a little bit too many steps in one go to improve, but just the fact that we're improving. And then, of course, as Will also said, when things goes bad, it kind of snowballed a little bit a couple of times, so we had many problems at once.
Yeah, and that's what normally happens, right? But there's something there's for sure. you know, you can only resolve one problem at a time. If you try to solve 3, then
that's where we ended, and we lacked the knowledge about which one was then the right problem to solve.
yeah, exactly.
And that's, I think, what we need to work on, is especially now, is really like the error handling
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah, for sure. And I think just going out and doing some nice and calm sailing, no marks, no nothing, just, you know, figure out how do we solve this stuff. It's going to be massively helpful for you, because a stressful race situation is not where you learn. So, you know, that's going to be key thing. Anything for you to add now?
As everyone said here, like we need to work on how to fix the problems quickly, and that you know, again, we have to train more. Problem happens, and we fix it, so we learn how to do it. And a lot of communication. Now we also started when Jan was with us yesterday. We started also like I do sometimes like too many things. So I need to distribute more tasks, for example, the timing and how much time is left and stuff. I have to.
Yeah, you have to push as much away from you as possible, because you know, when you push tasks away from you, it's going to be more fun sailing for the crew, and it's also when people get into it, you know, you're going to get more help, so it's going to be less, you know, on you, because basically you become the bottleneck if you have too many tasks.
True. And that has already helped us. Like last year when we were sailing here, or 2 years ago, we were like becoming, like finishing, for example, one leg behind.
Yeah.
The other boat is going upwind, we are going downwind. But now we are actually match racing.
Yeah.
And then if everything is good, we actually have something to say.
Yeah.
But if something goes wrong, then we don't know how to fix it.
Yeah.
So that is a big issue. I need to also like keep it calm.
Yeah, for sure.
Always. But I have also like one comment. It's not a complaint at all, but one comment that we are here 2 days. In the trainings, you didn't join our boat in the trainings. Maybe it didn't happen when we were training, but maybe if you were with us and this problem happened yesterday, then maybe you could have helped us to fix this problem. So when we come here, maybe, I mean, yesterday we had to spend a lot of time here to fix the boat first, and then, I mean, of course I come here and help a lot as much as I can, but here when I participate as a sailor, you know, then I am also expecting to get a boat to sail, so I don't need to spend more time, and when I come out, you are already, you know, doing some training with our team. It's not again a complaint. I know it's not easy because you are on the water and blah blah. But all in all, I am quite happy that we are like kind of, we know where we are.
Yeah.
And,
but I think I'm sure I see progression, so that's the most important. Yeah. What did we end up? Victor's tip?
Well, yeah, I can start with June. So yeah, again, we haven't sailed that much before as a team. So I think the progress from like yesterday morning to today was really huge, because we had to like get to know each other and get to, or become better at communicating with each other. And I think Victor and I, we've been sailing together like for some regattas, and I think our problem has been that we've been sailing solo, whatever, dinghies, so we really need to practice the communication. But I think the difference from yesterday to today, just the small calls like ready for attack, or do you want me to ease the main sheet or whatever, I think it was really good. And then I just think the spinnaker handling got way better, like way more control, and like the jobs of the different people were like a bit more lined up towards the end. So we knew kind of what each person had to do. So yeah, that was really cool.
It was quite clear to see that you kind of got your priorities straight from yesterday morning to today. So that was very nice. I think at least looking from the outside, it felt like you had more control downwind, and like you actually managed to do things nicely. I mean, you weren't under a lot of pressure from in the situations where I saw it, but it's yeah, it was nice. It got way better, especially just and I pointed it out this morning, but especially just today you ended up going pretty much dead downwind, and then just squaring the pole way back and get some projection on the kite. That's really good. And I think you all need to be a little bit aware that a spinnaker can collapse from being too east on the leeward sheet, but sometimes if you are what's the English word, overplat, like below dead downwind.
Yeah, too much leeward.
Yeah, like if you're more than dead downwind, then the main starts to blanket the spinnaker, and then you might actually have the spinnaker collapse again. So I actually saw your team, and I saw a few teams where normally your reaction as a skipper is kite collapses, come down, but if you are already dead downwind, actually you need to reverse. So it's a little bit about knowing where on the spectrum you are. You can fall off the edge either side, if that makes sense. So that's more like a general note on the kite handling as well. So yeah, sometimes you just need to know. For me, it's as simple as just looking at the Windex. Like if we are below 180 true, so we're actually in theory on the opposite jibe, then for sure we need to come up, let some air through, and then
before going down again.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a little bit, you maybe have to come up 8 degrees, but it's like if you imagine the boat having like you can sail 180 true on both jibes, right? And then you want to come up to like maybe 170 something to fill the kite again, and then work it down towards 180.
We actually had the call today that we are so low now that we are really good sailing, but we are also very close to unstable.
Very risky.
Yeah, so me and Christine were talking about we are at that point where it can tip over.
Yeah,
so she knows that
exactly.
she has to go up.
Yeah, exactly. So that's something.
So who's communicating that in your boat?
The trimmer and the skipper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
sure. And then I think a big takeaway for your team is like you need to try and sit down, and I'm sure there are theoretical books about pre-start plays and
that's a playbook.
Yeah, but a playbook is personal. So, but
that's the match racing, the one that
the blue ones.
The American guy did. That has
Dave. Exactly. Have a look into it, and if you try to stick to the standard situations, your life will get a lot easier. I know throwing a boundary in there creates a little bit of chaos.
Dave Perry, right?
Yeah. But actually what it does is just forces you to do more circles. Instead of going one out, one in, you end up going out, dack, and then you have to kind of, while circling, figure out when is the right time to bail out and to stop circling. So, it's the same game, you just try to burn time in another way. And I think it shook up the game a little bit today, which was nice. So yeah, I hope it was fun. I want to take it to where's the rest of the team? Morten, we have 2 here, and are we missing one? Maybe.
No, I think not.
No, let's 2 down here. Yep, 3. Yeah, just take it from one end of the boat. Like, what's your feeling? What did you take away from these 2 days?
I need more
skin.
Yeah. A lot more.
But I think it just showed that this boat here is, in my opinion, by far, as a mainsail trimmer, the most physical boat that you can match race. You are, even really big and really fit guys are sometimes under pressure to be fast enough. For sure. And it just shows, there's a certain amount of horsepower required, and If you don't have it, you don't trim as much, and maybe that was one of the things that showed on the upwind that I heard you saying at one point, no, I'm not easing because you're just going to tell me to pull it back in.
Exactly.
There was a difference from yesterday where the wind was more manageable.
Yeah.
So that was really fun that it was balanced between surviving and racing.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that, then if that happens, you need to figure, because I could see that you knew kind of what you wanted to achieve, but if you can't achieve it, you need to figure out a way to do it. Sometimes we even have the helmsman just putting a hand on and then...
Would you switch positions at some point?
No.
Just need help.
Yeah.
Just, grab a friend and figure out how to do it. Sometimes on the smaller boats, I remember, is it they don't have it anymore, the Tom 28 in Poland. We'll do a 3-person pull to get the last bit of jib in.
Yeah.
That's how it is. Because I'm not going to stop hiking to get the jib in if we can do it 3 people.
Exactly.
So, and I'm relatively strong. So that's just the way it is. You need to find your way around it, and for sure this was an obstacle today. So if it's just like, okay, help me 2, 1, oftentimes it's actually not that much help you need, but that extra person putting in 20 kilos is enough to get you over the barrier. Then you have the confidence that you can ease it again in the next puff. So, yeah.
We do it all the time on the GoPro. Always 2 people.
2 people. Yeah, but we also have a call, like, we don't ease in every gust in these conditions. Like, we just don't. Like, we steer a lot, and then the jib will be like, there will be a bubble because we can't physically go through these races.
But I think that's actually a good note. I think a lot of the time today, when you're starting to be overpowered, there is going to be a bubble in the jib. We talked about it on Mo's boat as well. This boat, because it has a fairly big keel and a fairly big rudder, you can actually what's called feather it. So you sail on the inside of the jib. You don't have to see both telltales streaming in these conditions. Then you're for sure low and fast. So your VMG mode is a little bit inside the jib, and then you slowly work it up there and try to balance the boat a little bit inside the jib. So that's important to know. Also, if you're sailing uprange Genoa, that's the way to go.
On the technical thing, I think we had a little bit of a problem finding the right recipe. Anyways, so the first 2 matches, we ended up going too early to the line.
Yeah.
That, I feel like also part of that.
Yeah.
And that, so to beat Christina, we needed to be first at line. And we were definitely 2 first. Then at the first one, we turned up the aggressive. I'm so fucking tired. And we, I think we won the start on that one. But lost the race. But I think we found the right spot there. And the 4th race, I actually can't remember.
So I think actually this is a good learning point for everyone to talk about.
I think we had a little bit. I had a little bit trouble finding the right balance of when to go to the line and.
Because basically what happened, at least I saw your first 2 races. First you faff around. There's a bit of dial up, blah blah blah. Of course you're gonna end up out here somewhere, and you start circling, right? And then after a couple of circles, someone breaks out, and in the first 2 races, this was Morten's team. And you went to the line, and let's say you were here at 40 seconds.
Yeah.
And the girls were actually way back. And you were like, okay, going slow, 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 slow. But you weren't going slow enough.
No.
So you end up very close to the line.
And
at 15, it was like, let's say this. And you couldn't accelerate. And you couldn't burn any more time outside of going down the line. The girls would, not go down as much as you, so you create more and more separation, and this was the gun, right? With the girls here and you here. And they could live here for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, this is a really strong start when you're like wide right, so that means like you have separation and you can live in this position upwind for a really long time. So
it was a timing issue.
Hey, let's hear from the other skipper because.
Yeah, I just have an input as to, I think I know why this happens because I've battled with it a lot. That you have kind of an internal setting, like that at 1 minute we are normally going towards the line, and then when there's a box or a boundary, you need to really drastically talk about like our rule of thumb that we normally do out on Tuesdays. It's wrong. Like in this case, going back on 30 is early. And I've sailed in places where the boundary is even closer, where you're like, we can break 15 seconds is what we can take to get to the line if we're in the boat in. So you need to be really good at recognizing this is
the game has changed basically.
The basic rules of the game has changed.
It's a really good point.
Yeah, and I think that was why I was super happy that we could put the line close to shore. So thank you on the committee boat for doing that. I mean, maybe not the most seaman-like place to put the start, but for match racing, it's good fun.
At least one Knar came and I saw just before this start he tacked and went out.
Yeah.
And I know the guy, so he would probably complain when I see him.
Yeah. You can blame me. It's not the first time that a Knar sailor has complained over me.
That's a good point. Making this so that the crew have to take this into consideration also.
Exactly. You know, it just throws a little spanner in the gears, and you have to kind of not reinvent the game, but you have to figure out how do I play the normal game but closer to the line, or you know, how do I burn time in another way that I'm normally doing, right? Yeah. So I think that was a key takeaway for you from what I saw, for sure. Anything else? I think in the pit that we can.
I was in a new position, so it was interesting.
Yeah.
All this shit.
But I really enjoyed the discussion, the theory we had this morning.
Yeah.
Just to clarify a few things from yesterday.
Yeah.
So we'll help with that.
Yeah. Then we can move back.
Yeah, I think with the Spinnaker, I'm still struggling with the windward sheet to get it more in.
Enough, yeah.
I'm definitely not used to that, and I was taught otherwise many years ago. So it's very deep in me to have it a bit forward to get a deep Spinnaker. But I also see the idea of putting it up 90 degrees so we get it more free, more flat.
It's just it's just more projection. That's what you're aiming for, right? Push it as far away from the mainsail as possible.
And I see the idea of it and the logic in it, but it's just I think there's some different religions in it. I just need to
100%. But I also think that in match racing, you need to be on the tighter side because there's more jibes happening.
Yeah.
Because you're set up in a more vulnerable way when you're a little bit more in front of the boat. Because you can start to see the Spinnaker dancing, and then it's easier to collapse it in the maneuvers.
I think then we still have some way to work on me as a streamer shutting up.
Yes.
Maybe I should say what do you call it, gag ball or something.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
Interesting theme.
No, you actually already ordered on Amazon, right?
Especially when I get excited in the start, I don't know.
But it's hard, and I actually think just recognizing how hard it is important. Also, maybe sometimes you can be the trimmer on the team, but because you're doing your normal position, maybe you're the one who actually has more head out the boat than the rest. But that doesn't mean that that your calls are the best ones, right? Because as we talked about on the water, if you have your head enough out of the boat to be able to kind of judge the course and where are we and what's the next good move, for sure you're not sailing fast, because then you can't leave your own job to do someone else's, and that's one of the really important things about sailing, is learning how to do your own job really well, and only then can you start
and then
others.
Instead maybe try to capture and remember you know what I want to say, and then afterwards, if it's hard enough, I will probably remember it, and then we can,
you can
use it for
talk about it in the debrief. So I think that's important. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's also this thing about tacticians and the different kind of modes you are in the pre-start. You are going up, you're going down. Who has actually the control of the boat? That's not something we communicate very well. So is it tactical we are running now, or are we running BMG, or what do we actually want to say? This is something I think we should work on. And then in general, so we need to maybe have, because now we have a new main trimmer today, but Bjørn, you and I have usually been the tacticians I'm not the tactician going up and down. We need maybe to educate and focus on, if you don't have the time for that, of course your input is welcome, but that's something we should train us.
Yeah.
And maybe have more, put more effort into.
Yeah.
So, sure.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I think, to me at least, it looked like you had trouble adjusting to a different style of starting, which was to me interesting, because you have to be a generalist and you can't always get to do it in the way that you normally do it. So figure out a way how to overcome that. I think it got better in the end. I saw you winning, was it the second to last race or something?
The second to the third one.
Yeah, you won the start in that one. At least, I mean, I was far away, but it looked like you had that was actually a misjudgment maybe on your team on how many circles to do. And I was actually just super happy to see that it was a misjudgment that was like, oh, that's the decider. Shouldn't have done that. That was really nice to see, because that means that we get into the higher levels of.
But we threw it away at the top mark.
That happens. That happens too. Yeah, and then we can go to the winning team. Yeah, that's you. I think we should start from about you. I mean, obviously you weren't here yesterday.
No, but what I could say is that I think Sophia and I had much better communication than we normally have. And even when we had some trouble issues, we solved them quite fast without panic. I was probably over demanding at some points, because I'm like, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. But I think we improved, and also the other Sophia. Our communication was quite good today. And hopefully also you could hear me in the end. And I like what you said about dividing the course in measures, so I tried to do that.
Maybe that's actually another good thing to talk about.
I don't know if they could hear me, but it was good for me.
But if you have at least the way we do it on our team is that like you have.
It made sense anyway.
You have your ley lines, right?
Yeah.
And then if you're in the middle of the course, we call it 5 and 5, which is like 50-50 but shorter. So that if we're talking in minutes, it could be 5 minutes this tech, 5 minutes this tech, right? We're trying to talk in times because that's easier. But if we're further out here, if we're in starboard tech, we'll say like maybe it's 3 and 7. So like 3 minutes sailing, 7 minutes on the other tech. And the same goes on the other tech. If we're here, it's maybe 1 and 9, because it's 1 minute, 9 minutes, or whatever the time. But it's a way of communicating how close are we to ley lines, because you had a few races where you were like actually pushed quite far out to the left hand ley line. Was it yesterday or was it today? I don't know. But where we had a talk about like you end up out here and then you end up actually doing a double tech.
Yeah, that was fun.
Why is that? And we don't need to put ourselves in that position. And I was on one team, I don't remember who it was, that tagged on actually a good ley line. I think that was you in one race. And then the girls tagged inside, and you were just getting squeezed off basically and had a hard time. Maybe it was someone else.
We had a struggle.
Yeah, where you had to like struggle to lay.
Yeah, we had to struggle to lay.
Yeah. But just having this talk about where are we regarding ley line, because it kind of changes the game. As I said, if you're behind, you want to get closer to the center of the course, and if you're ahead, try and push it to the sides. And just have like a general idea it's not necessarily 30 seconds to ley line, but more like we're way out left now. You know, that's good enough. It doesn't have to be in hard numbers all the time, but yeah, I think that's important. Yeah.
When we do the line check before the start, normally we also check where's the top mark. If the top mark is a lot to the left, then we know that we will have a long
starboard. Yeah.
So it's okay if we are behind. We have to be careful not to get to starboard if the buoy is on the left.
Yeah.
So so we're already aware that be careful on this side. Try to get to the other side.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's important. Yeah.
It was just a question.
Yeah.
Did the current affect anything today? Did you go in close to the banana because of current? No.
I didn't have a feeling that was it. I saw both the left and the right.
Because I know it's that direction, but I didn't feel the impact.
I had a feeling that you could win both the left and right if you were just fast.
Yeah.
It was definitely a speed game today. Because I saw in the first two races you actually had splits either way. You two teams
but not long splits. I think we actually managed to keep it quite close.
But one was very close to the banana, and the other one was out in free current.
That's right.
So it wasn't a current thing. That's what I'm trying to say.
Good.
Yeah.
For me, it was the same. The communication was much more clear, both between us, but also from you. I feel you were quite clear in what you wanted. So that helped a lot.
I agree. It was nice. I mean, it felt like you had a good, good clear comms on what you wanted to achieve. Sophie?
Your advice on trimming the spinnaker, getting it way more square, super clear, super easy to tell, and like the progression on that handling really, I could see over the weekend for me.
Yeah.
It was a bit difficult today with a fucked up arbor hose.
Oh yeah.
That did not help things.
No, it
but
doesn't.
I think
It doesn't.
Communication overall the whole weekend really improved, and I think just the overall trim advice, like I could just see things so much better, and like actually how things should look. So then, like, of course, it's so much easier just to do everything so you know what it should be.
You kind of have, it's the same that we talked about with most team. Like, you have to see it right one time, and then you kind of get a library of what it should look like, and then you can work from there, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I also think the video and the pictures is so important.
This morning's briefing answered basically all my questions from yesterday.
Beautiful. Yeah. So more video debriefs. That's a big takeaway. I think actually most teams should get a camera like that. It really does help. Like really, even if you're just sailing on your own. I've been doing that a lot this winter, and you get way better. Like way better, because you can go home, look at it, and be like, what's actually happening? Go back and forth, just scroll in it and be like, that's the fuck up. And then everyone knows. Yeah, that's important.
Without being
wasted.
Maybe just an idea. If everybody write, we have sailed today in the boats. Just write I know something is wrong on boat 1. Then we could picture it and send it to Lasse, or we at least have a debug list so go up and write on the boats what is wrong.
Further back, I think we should still just progress there. Do you have anything to add?
I definitely got a lot of tips and tricks.
Yeah.
Also from you, but like taking in when we were circling.
Yeah.
I didn't notice
so just
at all.
say that loud, and so that everyone knows, because I think there's a few more main trimmers that could take this advice.
So instead of taking the main with your hand around when you're circling, just actually stay in and just keep like taking it in.
Keep pulling.
I couldn't even see like what was going on, but you seemed more happy when I did it. I was like, I'm sure I'm doing something right.
So basically, when we're circling, you don't need to grab the whole, the whole bunch of strands and pull the main over. You just keep head down and you keep pulling. Especially as the boom cross, you get 3 pulls that has, no resistance, which just means that when you jibe and that you're gonna continue in the circle, your main is trimmed on even more going into the circle, and it just helps push the boat into the tack, and also it's just way safer because you have a lot less rope hanging around.
But it's so tempting to lead it over, because then you're in control. You feel like.
Yeah, but you know, yeah, it's just wrong.
Yeah.
So it's just that's the way, especially in the more heavy breeze. I think that's a good takeaway.
And then I'm definitely gonna keep on CrossFit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was really hard today.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but that was good. Mille, anything to add?
Yeah, but that's the thing also. It is a hard day today, and we were talking a lot on the boat, especially when we realized we have at least 4 races, that at some points we're gonna make mistakes. More and more mistakes. We're gonna get more and more tired. And we addressed that, especially for the last race. We were talking to each other saying, this race we're gonna make small mistakes, but we have to be okay with that. And that was really nice actually. And we almost fell. Me and Sophia fell over each other, and it was making so. But it was. We know because we were just tired.
Yeah.
So
It's
I
nice.
also said to Christina, maybe not that many attacks. I know, but please don't do a total attack. But yeah, sometimes the skippers.
But she didn't listen.
Yeah, no, but it's okay. But sometimes the skippers they don't have the physical work, and they don't think that we're gonna make a tagging duel. And it's like, no, we cannot do that anymore. We are like so
it's okay
tired.
to say that you're on the limit, and you
Yeah.
know that's where huge mistakes.
So only do it if it's really, really necessary. That's why I said with the tax set, I said only do it if you really need to.
Exactly.
If we don't, it takes
Please
longer
don't.
and it's easier
exactly.
with a normal.
I don't think.
But if it's necessary to win, of course.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Maybe the call
Anything
wouldn't be there if it
that you
wasn't
want to
necessary.
add, Christine?
Sometimes it is like you get a lot out of knowing when to keep it simple and save your energy and forgive your mistakes because they're gonna happen. And if you stay very focused on what you just made, then the next one's gonna come right in your face. So just trust they will make mistakes as well.
And the other team is also tired.
And the other team is also tired.
Yeah. I think we had one talk in I don't know which race where you got a penalty.
Yeah.
About like
First race.
Yeah. What do you do?
Second.
First.
Okay, fair
too
enough.
late.
Yeah. Like, what do we do if we're not far enough ahead to burn it on the pin?
Oh yeah, that one. Yep.
Then, what are our options? One good option is just slow the game right down, like you would have Morten out here somewhere. Slow it right down at the mark. Now, if he tries to go over you, put him up here somewhere. All the way up there, right? And if you're still close enough to the mark that you haven't left the zone, which is super important, and he tries to go inside, slam him.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's an expensive.
No, but you just shut the door, and then of course don't break the boats, but fucking close it. Like.
He will never do that again. Though.
Yeah.
It's so tempting, especially if people think they can't catch me, but they can. They can catch you. For sure they can.
And what would the other boat?
But as a hunting boat,
as the trailing boat,
as a hunting boat, you would know that that's what they want, so you would stay on top of her.
Yeah, but
stay on top
just
of her.
you're behind with a penalty. Just stay close.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything smart. Just stay close.
Just stay behind her, and then just drift over the line.
Make sure you have
But that's how it's going to end up. If I just stay behind you, I can drift all the way down to the finish line.
You can back your way all the way down to the finish line, whatever.
So
just stay close.
Patience.
Exactly.
Patience.
And it's so difficult. But it's
It is very difficult.
Because
so impatient.
and that's where match racing gets weird and wonderful. But
really weird.
Patience, is that a word you know?
Yeah. So I think that's just one key takeaway.
But we were lucky because we could jibe,
Yeah.
and then you didn't have the space. You were too far away.
Yeah.
And then because you should just have kept it, because you were also after the top mark, you went over here, go down here, because then you have exactly.
You didn't hoist and you
I'm gonna
ended
be
up
very
over
honest.
here.
I had no idea how to execute this. I also said it. So now I know.
Yeah, exactly. So slow it right down in the zone,
Yeah.
and don't hit the mark.
Yeah.
That's it.
Or we should have hoisted and hopefully.
But then you have to go. Yeah. Otherwise, you have to try and extend, right?
Yeah, we could go.
But it's super hard to reel get people close enough that you can put a penalty on them on the downwind. It's actually hard to break the boat enough without having an overtake. So yeah.
I've tried it, but I never really understood what they were doing. I was just doing my job.
But it's actually
shouting in the
your best shot at slowing the game down and reeling them in, getting them close enough for you to either do attack, bear away below 90, or like 2 tacks or whatever you know.
At the top mark.
But then just don't take your penalty.
There's also tricks of doing it at the finishing line, but I never really understood how.
Yeah, but then you have to get people towards the boat end generally.
Yeah. And it's difficult.
It is very difficult. It's the hardest thing. Ahead with a penalty, it's
But it's better behind than behind.
That's all from me, unless there are some questions that are left unanswered.
Let's go to the more official part of it. So, the results, will you tell the results? No. Okay, but yes, but we have you probably don't. We have had both a round robin and also the finals today. And so I think we should give a big applause to I guess it is Bo, right? For the also getting the person up and so on. So let's so number 5 was Mo, right?
Yes.
And number 4 was Study. And actually number 3 we would like to see one up here for the third place, and that is Victor. And the finalist, Morten.
Hey.
Tak for det. Tak for godt stævne. Og tak for at være med første gang.
Here so we can take a nice photo. You can take a nice photo outside.
Oh yeah. Okay, thank you so much.
Here you go.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay, 3, 2, there we go. Perfect.
And usually we share the result from the runner-up also, right?
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
Okay, but we have the biggest, everybody, the biggest winner and the biggest applause today.
Agree.
Should actually go to Lars Bjørn. And actually also to know that, I mean, you took Amazon down Friday, and now you're going to bring it back again. Yes, to Ormsted. So let's give him an extra hand.
A few volunteers to bring the 2 red products we have and the 2 anglers and 2 of these black round sink to Amazon.
I'm sure the winners will help.
Yes, we got it.
Okay, but last thing, all the boats are ready. Please check that everything looks nice, and the tasks you had in the whole race, please check that, for example, all VHFs are for charging, all sails looks ready, and so on, and make sure everything is nice and clean. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
And also, of course, where are you, Thor? Is he gone? Oh. Thank you very much for Thor, I think. Super good. And thank you for all the good advice.
And thank you for organizing. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you for today.
Og det er jo der, hvor
Jeg er lidt i tvivl, om hun også var i YouTube.
Det tror jeg ikke.
det tror jeg, I vil få noget af. Det er sjovere at være med, og plus må bare acceptere, at vi laver fejl. Men vi laver færre fejl, end vi går. Ja, præcis. Ja, altså, der er jo nogle ting, der er øjnene, hvor vi skyde det. Præcis. Og det er jo der, der løber. Jeg får det fast. Tusind tak. Men jeg synes, vi skal have til Manigo Stop. Det er det, vi får noget af.
Ja, det var godt.
Jeg er femte mand, der er med igen den gang. Ja.
Prøv lige at kigge sådan. Godt arbejde.
Ja, tak.
Ja, no worries.